Welcome back to Wealth Mavericks. A few episodes ago, I talked about your cash flow recovery number, which is the amount that you're currently paying taxes on, that if you had a good tax plan in place, you wouldn't have to pay taxes on those dollars. And the number comes from one simple concept, which is the difference between what you're earning and what you're spending. So today I have Joe with me, and I want to go a little deeper into this topic because it cannot be overstated that that gap is your gain. And so almost 2 years ago now, I think, I'll have Kenny link the episode, but you, me, and Bob did an episode on our favorite personal development books because we've all read a lot of them, especially Bob. I posted a story to the Terra Firma Instagram the other day of a video I got in Dallas of Bob's bookshelf in the office. It is unbelievable the amount of books that man owns and has read, but we all narrowed it down to 3. And one of mine was called The Gap and the Gain by Dr. Benjamin Hardy. And the premise behind this book is that we all have a gap between where we are and where we want to be. And oftentimes we measure our success by how far we are from where we want to be. But the problem is we don't look back and say, wow, look how far I've come. And as soon as we hit a goal, we're always moving the goalpost. And so we're never really happy, with where we are. So he talks about that gap and how you have to embrace it and also look back. So that led me to this. Really, the gap is the gain when it comes to how we do this. And we've said before, if you spend every dollar that you make, we can't help you. But if you have a big gap, there's a lot of opportunities. So today, we wanted to talk about what are 3 ways really to widen that gap. So Joe, you and I were talking about a few metaphors you have in your own life just of this concept. So why don't you talk us through that?
Yeah, I think the simplest one, because when you shared that, immediately it resonated with me and it reminded me, my brother-in-law, Charlie, who at some point I'm sure everyone will meet, but he was doing an Ironman triathlon in Cozumel. And long story short, it takes a tremendous amount of effort, money, time, all of that in order to compete in one of these kinds of events. Huge investment financially. Our whole family took a vacation, so that was expensive in and of itself. And we all went down there to support him. And as we were literally at the starting line, and it was awesome. Like the whole island of Cozumel is filled with these super fit people carrying their bikes around. Like it's just a cool environment. Yeah. Everyone's excited. It's the penultimate experience that they've been preparing for. So the way that this worked, to swim is first. They all jump it, off the dock into the starting area. Gun goes off, people start swimming, and as with most triathlons, like it's a wild start. Like if you've ever done one, you feel like you're going to drown. Like just people are crawling over you, pulling on you. It's crazy. And in this race in particular, they had to swim about a quarter mile. I'll call it north. I don't know which direction it was, but they had to swim a quarter mile in that direction around a buoy. And then back, the remainder of the race took them down to where they got onto their bikes after that. The problem with this was that there was a current. So that first quarter mile, they had to swim harder and faster than the remainder of the race. Then like the current was carrying them. So they fought against the current in the beginning. Here's where this becomes important. There were it was about 45 minutes after the start of the race. So I'm watching people are just gone way by and they start in waves and all that kind of stuff. And I look down at the starting line, 45 minutes after the start, I look down and I see people still swimming in place, just barely getting ahead of the current, and they hit cutoff times. And so they had to be pulled from the race, like right there. After all that training, everything that was going on, they had to be pulled from the race. I couldn't even imagine the heartache. And that's what struck me as you were talking about that. They needed to create more gap. They needed to put more effort in the beginning right now so that you can get ahead. And then you could have they literally could have sat in the water and the current would have carried them. Wow. And so that was really the illustration for me. I'm like, that is so apropos. There are times where you need to put in more effort in order for a short period of time with a plan in place so that you can get to that place that you want to be.
Absolutely. So this seems simple, but oftentimes the simplest things are the things that get us ahead. It's just a matter of putting our focus there. So if you find yourself in a place where your gap, you don't know what your gap is, or two, you just feel like there is no gap, what are some ways to intentionally increase it? So number one, I think the most obvious is to increase what you're bringing in. You're already making a good living, but there's a lot of opportunity out there. Increase your income, whether you're W-2, whether you can take on some 1099 on the side. I know, Joe, you have worked with practice owners a lot where this becomes more controllable, I would say. What are some things particularly practice owners can do to increase their income?
Well, I mean, that's like as varied as there are as many people. There could be 7 different strategies for each one. I think probably more than anything, streamline your systems so that you can serve a higher capacity. A lot of people kind of build to their point where they just can't see growing beyond that. And their systems are designed to perfectly deliver what they're currently experiencing. So some of that starts right there, is you have to make sure that your systems are in place in order to grow, meaning I can receive more patients and thereby make more money. So that'd be the first thing. Are you prepared to bring on more people? And then figure out your marketing systems. Like a lot of people are like, most of their business is just word of mouth, and they don't feel in control of it. It's just, it happens naturally. Great. Create marketing systems that will do that work, so you can actually go out and find new people that you want to work with. And then the other could be expansions of services or expansion multi-location, so having help people do those first things first and then move out. Just as an aside, and we probably should do a whole episode series on this because I've helped a lot of people in this arena, is you want to know before you go. So that's what scares a lot of people. They're like, I don't want to open up another practice. It feels like this blank check that I'm going to have to write to do that. Well, you can know before you go. Get your marketing locked in so you know, when I spend X amount of dollars on Facebook or Instagram or whatever it might be to attract people, or flyers or billboards, I don't care, whatever it is, how much money do I have to spend to bring a new patient in? What is your patient acquisition cost? Once you know that, you can couple that with what is my patient lifetime value. Now, that's how much am I going to earn over the lifetime of this patient? Once you know those key metrics, it's like, okay, now I feel in control. I can go input money into the system. It yields patients, and here's how I can monetize that, thereby making this viable. So I just say, more than anything, know before you go if you're going to go multi-location or if you're going to go add more services. So anyway, we could do entire episode series on that, but I just think a lot of people kind of just get into the rhythm of how things are. Many of our members are like, I'm happy with life. Why would I want more headache? Well, it's an important question to answer. To your point, if the gap needs to be greater, this is one opportunity.
Definitely. And if you are W-2 or 1099, if you're happy where you are and you don't want to change jobs to make more money, it does become either you take on a side hustle or you look to the next, which is either lowering what you spend or just being intentional about where that money is going. We always say, we're not going to tell you how to spend your money. You've worked very hard. You're very successful. But the question is always, is your spending in line with what you say your values are? And oftentimes, very often, we see that once you make a certain amount, like, you feel like you don't even have to pay attention to where the money is going. So that's where Bob uses the analogy of like water just flowing over the riverbank. Like the river fills up after it rains, and now it's just spilling over the sides and just being absorbed into the banks. Where if you corral it in and force it to where you want to go, you're going to reach your goals so much faster. So number 2, be intentional about that lifestyle creep. So what do you have to say about this? Do you think we see this a lot?
I think that's a really good question, Erin. I think we see it all the time. People come in, and lifestyle creep is a very natural progression. I was just having coffee this morning with a friend of mine, and he's kind of progressing through life. So just got married, and expenses are increasing. And I just think it's natural. I think it's a natural progression for everybody. And we're not here to tell you how to spend your money, but what I will say is, it's your responsibility to spend the money in an intentional way. And that's where I think we see so many people who just, through the natural course of life, they've allowed things to happen. And then you find yourself in a place where if anyone has gone through this exercise or used Monarch Money or any of the tools that we talk about, it can be a very eye-opening experience. And so many of our members, it's just like, I had no idea how much money we were spending. No wonder we're not getting ahead. So it's like going back to that analogy of being in the water. It'd be like trying to do that swim and swimming really hard with your shoes and clothes on. It's like, you got to streamline, get one of those fancy triathlon Speedos, and get really streamlined. Now you can actually make it through the water. It's easier to create that gap when you're streamlined. So this would be, I would call it the equivalent to doing that. It's a simple exercise that most people avoid, and therefore they end up kind of spending on accident just because that's how they've progressed.
And we're going to talk on our next episode about the energy of money, how two people can be exactly the same when it comes to profession and income, but they feel very differently about their money. And that impacts how your money, it really does. It might sound a little woo, but how it shows up in your life. And we're going to talk about one member who wouldn't look at it for like 2 years and finally did. And what an accomplishment that was. So for this one, number 3, to widen that gap would be, of course, to keep more of what you earn. And I'm excited about something that we're working on called the Terra Firma Toolbox that, we've always been very education focused, but I think sometimes people are left like either we're doing it or our member wants to do it, but they're like, okay, what steps do I actually take? And so we've been listening. We're always taking feedback from our members, like, how can we get better? And now we've developed this whole toolbox that our members get access to that has all those step-by-step instructions and templates and resources. So there's really no excuse to not be taking advantage of these things that are right in front of you, to be able to not pay $200,000, $300,000 a year or more in taxes. Like when we get someone's tax return and I see that on there, it seriously makes me ill. And it's not even my money. I can't even imagine literally paying more in taxes each year than most people even make in a year in this country. It's bananas. And so there are plenty of things you can do. And when your tax bill goes down, we are in that process right now, seeing that, it comes as a refund into your bank account, real dollars that now you can use to put toward growing your wealth and more tax savings. So for those who are maybe ignoring that or are fearful of that, what would you say?
Well, Bob talks about wealth accumulation and tax savings being fraternal twins. You can't have one without the other. It is very difficult to accumulate wealth if you're not maximizing the tax savings that you can have. So I think for most people, they just don't understand how the system works. And so that's a big part of what we do. Again, you said very education focused. It's like, we just want you to understand how the system works. And once you begin to understand that, I'll use this illustration because I'm very into this right now, but I'm so into gold prospecting. Like I'm literally going out with my family and panning for gold. I found like 0.02 cents worth of gold so far, but it's so exciting. Like I just love it so much. But one of the first rules in prospecting is you've got to go where there's gold. You have to go where there's gold. If there's no gold, it doesn't matter how much you pan. It's not going to be in the pan. So I think that's the thing, is like knowing those rules. So that's what, I'm very into understanding, like, okay, the geology. One of the guys who was giving me some advice, he was like, just ask yourself, if I was a flake of gold traveling down this canyon for 5,000 years, where would I be? Right. So it's just like you kind of play detective a little bit. I think the same thing is true for understanding the tax code. If I were tax savings, where would I be? Where is it? So I think that's kind of the element for most people, is like we tend to fear what we don't understand. And once you understand something, like I really, really don't like snakes, and I don't understand snakes. There are people who handle snakes all the time, and they are not afraid of snakes because they know them. So I think for us, that's part of, like, if this is one of those areas where you've avoided I think it's just because of a lack of knowledge. So go get educated. Where is that gold? If I was tax savings coming down this canyon, where would I be? That's a lot of what Bob talks about in his education, is just showing you the breadcrumbs that are left. So understand the system. That way you can go find where those things are. And then again, very difficult to have wealth accumulation if you are not having tax savings. So got to keep more of what we believe you are entitled to.
Mm-hmm. if I were tax savings, where would I be? That was
Yeah.
like the clip from this episode. Thank you, Joe. It's a good question to ask. So I loved this idea, the gap in the gain, the gap in the gain. You know, Benjamin Hardy tells us that we need to celebrate how far we've come. And you should do that. You've worked so hard to get to this income level. But now it becomes that gap is your gain. And so you have to build it, protect it, expand it. Because the bigger the gap between what you earn and what you spend, the more freedom in your life you create. So we hope this was valuable. Thank you as always for being here. And until next time, go be a wealth maverick.